Hello guys and welcome back to TNT Madness. Today we're going to look at the pros and cons of using an unclaimed base and the scenarios in which you should use it, as there are actually some. All these comparisons will be made against a regular walled base where you are trying to stop enemies from blowing up your base by building huge walls and lots of them, opposed to the stealthy nature of an unclaimed base. For those who don't know what an unclaimed base is, it's usually a small box that you try and hide as best you can and are usually built underground so people don't find your base. This can be very effective as people don't generally look for bases below them, but instead look for sky bases or scan the area using Fmap. So by not claiming it, people won't bother searching below them as it's a waste of time as they aren't that common, and plus even if you are searching for one, it's like looking for a needle in an Earth-sized haystack. It's like trying to win the lottery, and it would be much better to spend your time finding proper bases that you can see and selling their coordinates or rating them yourself. For those who do try, just don't, you'll feel like a depressed onion cutting itself. However, if you do somehow get found, then everything is lost. So what are the actual benefits of an unclaimed base? For a start, you don't need to spend days building the necessary walls to protect your base from most cannons. This also allows you to make the base a lot smaller, which is very important as the bigger the base, the easier it is to find. You also don't have to use your precious faction power, so you can die as much as you want and you aren't limited to a certain space if you're on a server that doesn't allow you to have that much power without paying money. This makes it great for people who only want to play for the PvP aspect and want to store small amounts of loot as they are best for small vaults. Finally, again, these vaults are nearly impossible to find. Additionally, there are some very harsh downsides, these being that the bigger you build your base, the easier it is to find as the surface area increases drastically and it makes it easier for miners to find you. It's like finding diamonds. If there were twice as many diamonds in any area, then you would get the same amount of diamonds in half the time. This makes building a huge base impractical and makes it irritating for making any money farms as they require a lot of space. The most brutal downside is that if you are found, they can simply claim you and you will lose everything from someone who has use no skill or time, just simple luck or X-ray hacks. Finally, though, these aren't good for long-term bases either, as over time more people will go past your base. So if every passing day, the more likely your base is to be found. So it's not a good idea to have it for too long. In conclusion, I think there are two main scenarios that I think unclaimed bases are viable in. The first being for a tiny temporary vault that you use for holding massive amounts of resources while you build your proper faction base. This is actually a really good idea, as instead of placing your chests near your base while you're building, where people spying on you can easily get them, you can instead have a temporary F-home or pick-up site for your faction members. The second and more important scenario is for casual faction players who only play for a few hours a week and only enjoy PvPing, boss fights, exploring events and other faction related stuff that doesn't involve the main base building and raiding. This gives them a moderately safe place that requires little time to create, and since they will only need a vault for storing valuable loot, then they won't need a huge area. And most importantly, you don't have to worry about dying, as you won't have to worry about faction power, so you can die in PvP as much as you want. My cousin, who is going 19, is a casual faction player who has a job laying asphalt in Melbourne and therefore has little time for games. However, he still enjoys aspects of factions, and by using this strategy he could still get a lot out of factions without having to be a hardcore player and having anxiety over losing his stuff or faction power. Well, anyway, I would love to continue this discussion in the comment section below in case I missed anything or if any of you have different opinions. Anyway, thanks for watching, like and subscribe if you want, and I plan on sticking to my new schedule, so I'll see you next time with TNT Madness.